Hello everyone, this is Diane. Welcome to my channel. It's nice to have you here with me today. It's a snowy day. I mentioned in the video I made yesterday that it was snowing and it was going to continue to snow until Tuesday. So today's Monday and it is still snowing, but it's not accumulating really quickly. Yeah, it's not building up like that 3 feet we had a month ago. So anyway, it is a snowy day. I'm staying home, and my grandson was just here shoveling for me. And I'm just working on these journals, these little traveler's notebook journals. Before I get going on these, I just wanted to show you that I did sew the signatures into my little collage book last night. If you didn't see anything about this, it's in yesterday's video, which is titled Let's Talk About Collage. I'm not going to go into any of the details in this video because I already talked about it in yesterday's video, but I did make the first few planner pages. This side is the planner, this side is for the collage. So I have to catch up on collage because I should be on doing week 5 this week, and I haven't done any of them yet because I just decided to join in. So I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. I sewed the pages in last night, and so I was anxious to, really get something going in here. So I just glued on my prompts for each week up to week 8, 9, 10. Yeah, up to week 10. And I did some of the planner items for those pages. So I just wanted to show that to you, that's all. And I will get back into this, and I'll probably do the collaging on camera when I get to that. I still have to do something on the title page there, but I have all the rest of the prompts here ready to go. So I was excited to get going on that. And if you notice, the color scheme of this blends right in with the colors here on the project that I'm working on. You can tell it's one of my favorites. So what I'm doing is a set of 3. Well, they'll be sold separately, but I'm doing 3 traveler's notebooks, although I probably wouldn't bill them as, or list them as traveler's notebook because I think they're a little wider than they need to be to go in your traveler's notebook. They are 4.5 inches. Is that big? I think they're usually about 4 or 4.25. Anyway, they're 4.5 because that's what I was comfortable with the digital kit I was using. I wanted to make the cover just a little bit bigger than the pages. So I'm using this Rose Cottage paper pad from Recollections. Very beautiful. It's one of the Hot Buy pads, and it's the cardstock, white on one side, and it comes with quite a few sheets of cut aparts. There are journaling cards, like large cards, and smaller cards too, and also these embellishment type of things. So there's a lot to work with. But I didn't want to just fill the notebooks up with these kinds of things. I wanted to have, handmade ephemera and just other pieces. But I did use some, and I will use more. So that's what I'm using. And then I'm also using a digital kit from TLC Creates Vintage, and she's on Zibbit. She used to be on Etsy, but I can link her shop and the kit. Maybe I'll actually just link the kit because it is hard to find things on her Zibbit shop. She has so many digitals, and they're beautiful. But the digital kit is called Nature Themed Floral, I think. Traveler's Notebook Digital. So that's what the kit is, and this is an example of a page. She has some that are just this color, like almost like a sepia tone, and then some with beautiful flowers. And you'll see more of them as I go through these books. And I wanted to use some gorgeous trims, the ones that I just got recently, and I got out my little basket of boho fabrics that I've had from before, so I used some of those items. So what I want to do right now is I have this journal, this particular one, pretty much filled in, so I'm going to mimic what I did here into these journals, and I already have my supplies all ready, so I'm just going to pick one and start working. For the covers of each one, I sewed a piece of fabric down the center fold so that it's going to be real sturdy and it won't crack or anything. And I decorated the front of each one with one of my pretty embellishments trims that I just got. This one has this one is from Sheila, and this is from my boho stuff that I had from before. This little bit, oh, so gorgeous. I think that one is from Boho Tree on Etsy, and then this one is from Sheila. So they're so pretty. I'm glad I had a chance to use some, and I used little bits within the journal too. So this is the one that is done, and this is the one I'm going to work on. So the first thing I want to do is going to get some things out of my way. I'm also using some of my own digitals. I wanted you to see me using my own stuff. And thank you, those of you who went to my shop and made some purchases this weekend, because I did a video showing a lot of digitals that I had listed recently. So that was really nice that a lot of you went over and got some. What I have here is a piece of wrapping paper. And I just loved it because it has these little squares you could cut out and make things with, but I just cut it into a bigger piece that would fit nicely right there on the inside cover as a pocket. Now this one has this fabric wrapped around, which gives it a little more embellishment there. This one is going to look more plain, so maybe I should put something there to decorate. I wasn't prepared for that. I can add that later, because I have something right here. Now I want to think about it a little more, so I'm just going to add this part. And to decorate the pocket, I'm going to add a little bit of lace at the top. Yeah, it's been snowing for 24 hours, and it's supposed to snow for another 24. I don't know if I'll be able to go to the post office tomorrow or not. I mean, I'm sure I could. I could go today, but I don't go out if I don't absolutely have to when it's snowing. You know, even if I didn't have any trouble getting down to the post office, there's snow along the side of the road where I would have to park, you know, so I just wait. I'm not in a big hurry. I'm sorry for, I mean, I usually go a day or two after orders are placed. I usually go 3 times a week if I have, you know, a lot of things I've listed in my shop, but at least twice a week I go. So it's not like I'm waiting longer than my Etsy shop thinks I should wait. I put in 1 to 3 business days for getting things out, and I usually get them out in 1 or 2. So sometimes if it's 3 days, it's okay. This is just a little lace medallion. I'm just trimming off the extra netting that's around it. And I'm just going to glue that right there. I am using Fabri-Tac in this Sugar Bell frosting bottle, which I got on Etsy. Someone asked me in a video the other day, and I didn't respond yet, if I have trouble with my bottle clogging, and if I have trouble opening the bottle so I can refill it. So yes and yes. She asked me what my solution was. So this part does clog, but it's usually very easy. I just stick a pin in it and wiggle it around, and it usually cleans out pretty well. And it doesn't clog all the time. I use my steel pin to stick in there, and if you look for glue bottle I don't know how to search for it on Etsy, I don't remember, but you can find these kind of bead dangles with a steel pin on Etsy, and I'm going to order another one just so I have an extra. But anyway, that's what I use, and I cannot open this part of the bottle. I have to open this part. This part comes off. I guess this part is just stuck with glue, and then I just have a much smaller opening, so I have to be very careful while I pour the glue in. But it works. I have an empty one. It comes in a pack of 2. Thought about using the other one since I can't open this one, but for now I'm just going to keep using this. Okay, so I have that done, and then here's where I took one of my printables. This is a nice yellow receipt from Pennsylvania Baking Company, crackers, cakes, and biscuits from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I want to do something to the back of that to vintage it up a little bit. I didn't do it to the one that I already tucked into the other journal, but let's see what we can do with this. I printed it on a thinner paper, not my good paper that I print my journal pages on, because I wanted it to be more old and fragile. And that's gathered twigs, not vintage photo. That's okay. Nancy said she prefers gathered twigs. It has a more of a greenish tint. Something is rattling. Gotta fix that. There. I have a noisy table. And I wondered if I should use my little razor distresser on the edges very lightly, just so it doesn't look like a fresh piece of paper. I don't want it to look too ragged because the original piece isn't ragged. It was well preserved. And so I just want it to look kind of like the original piece. So I'm just roughing up the edge a little bit, and then I'll rub some ink on that. You probably won't be able to tell a difference on camera, but I can see it. It doesn't look all smooth and pristine on the edges anymore. I was cutting out some of my ephemera. I printed it so that I could show it to you on a video to let you know what was in my shop. And as I don't think I have these in yet, I'll have to try to put them in the shop maybe tonight before this video goes up tomorrow. Because I have these all scanned, but I guess I got tired of of watermarking and listing ephemera because I had maybe 2 sets left to do. And I haven't done them in a while. So I need to get back to it and finish this. These are called the, I think they're letterhead bills is what I called them, because this is the letterhead part and this is the bill. But the letterhead is what makes them so interesting. I have that one and I have this one and others. This one is gorgeous. It shows a hardware store. I've never seen a hardware store that looked like that. But it's beautiful. And this is dated 1850. So I have some gorgeous letterhead papers. That's what I'm using. What I was saying was, as I was cutting them last night, I realized I had duplicates, and then when I tried to match up the duplicates, I realized one set was big and the other set was smaller. So I think what I did was I made copies of my originals. I taped them to paper to arrange them however they will fit on 8.5 by 11, and then I scanned them in. But I think I must have printed the ones that were taped to the paper, and then this is the actual what you would get in a digital. They always are smaller once I scan them in. So this first journal got a bigger one. So anyway, this is the size you would get, and I just folded it up to make it skinny enough to fit in this pocket. And I will, got a little glue on the back of that lace, and I don't want it to get glued to the paper behind it, because I have some lace extending above the pocket. And I will do something more to that page. On this page, I want to put another pocket on the back. So I took a piece of a square doily and glued it to this textured green card that was on it was part of a vintage book, and I liked the color and I liked the texture to it, although that texture is going to be lost because you won't see it through the pattern on that doily, but it was handy. It was right on my desk, so I used it. And I'm making a pocket out of it. Cut good enough, and I'll just glue that down there, and then I'm going to decorate that a little bit. I could make it a tuck spot, but I'm gluing it down as a pocket. One of the embellishments on that cut apart page is a row of circles, and I used, well, I think I cut this one out by hand, but some of them I punched out with my little punch. So I'm going to put that in the corner, and then I'm going to do something with some silk embroidery. See, this is what they look like. Silk embroidery ribbon. Oh, here it is. See, I got all my stuff out, almost all my stuff. Just wanted to make sure I could find it. I'm going to glue this down. Right there. And I'm going to take a pretty long length of this ribbon and try to tie a bow in the center. was very awkward doing that for the first journal that I did because I had a band-aid on my thumb, like right over the top of my thumb, because I have a little spot on my thumb, on the tip of my thumb, where I guess my skin just cracked. And it was very, very, very sore. And if I get Fabri-Tac in it, it stings like crazy. But I took the band-aid off before the video so I could work less clumsily. I have a hard enough time. And I'll just try not to get Fabri-Tac in my cut. So I'm just going to glue the bow down. And I'm just going to run a little line of glue partway down here, and then stick this ribbon down. And I can bunch it or twist it or whatever. I just don't want it to look just straight. And I'll do the same thing over here. Just want it to go down the side a little bit. I've got glue on my fingers. I'm being careful to keep my thumb out of it. And it's sticking to the glue on my fingers. It's hard to arrange it the way you want to because it sticks to your finger and wants to come up when you move your finger. Like that. So I ended up straightening it instead of messing it. You don't want it to be that straight. Just twist it a little. This is a fussy project. And that's going to have to be good. Just make a mess of the glue. Okay. Just try to remove that little glob of glue that was there. Okay. Phew, got that done. On this page, oh, and this is going to be, this is a copy of an old check. Tally-ho cravats, Forest Hills, New York. United National Bank of Long Island. That will go in here, but I want to make sure that that dries before I tuck it in there. On this page, I'm going to do a little collage of wallpaper here. I got out some of my really old fragile pieces of wallpaper that I love. This is one of my favorites. And I don't have big pieces of these. I don't have a good bouquet floral piece on that blue, so I'm going to take an extra piece of that here. Maybe I'll put that elsewhere on the page, but I want to make sure this page gets a piece of that floral. I wanted to get the word in there, but it didn't have a lot of floral on that section. I think it said join here. I have the 1812 Overture playing in my head because I listened to it the other day. It wasn't the last thing I listened to, but it's weird what gets stuck in my head. I have different sections of the piece in my head at any given time, not just the same piece playing over and over, which is often what happens. A lot of times if I listen to a CD, I get the song I like the least on the CD stuck in my head, and usually it's just one section of it playing over and over and over. It gets rather annoying, but this time I like the 1812 Overture, and I have pretty much the whole thing playing in my head. Do you get pieces of music stuck in your head? What do they call it? Earworm, I think. I always have it. Always have some music in my head. So I have some vintage photos here. This one I'm going to have to trim up because I think it was just cut in a rough oval and put in a frame. But I got it like that. But this one is a cute photo of a couple. It looks like she's adjusting his collar before the photographer snaps the picture. He's standing straight and smiling and ready for the picture, but she has to adjust something. I think that's really cute. So I'm going to just paper clip that there along with this floral postage stamp. I think it's from Cambodia. I have all my pieces pulled out for the third journal too, so I'm just setting them aside so I can do them later. Okay, and this journal kit comes with this lined piece, so I don't have to like stencil white pages or anything like that. On this side, I'm going to put a glassine bag so you can still see the design underneath. And I'm going to put it on so that you can tuck something behind it, as well as inside the bag. And I want to decorate the bag a little bit. And I want to do a collage on the tag. The tag is a coffee dyed inventory tag, and when you coffee dye them, it weakens the perforation, which would be okay if you wanted to take it apart and use it in sections, which is a fun thing to do. But in this case, I want to use the whole tag. So I collaged on the back. Let me show you what I did on this one. I wanted the inventory tag part to be written on. So on the back I collaged on it, and that just reinforces that, so it's not in any danger of tearing apart. So that's what I want to do on this one. And I did not get collage pieces ready, but I have my little pouch right here of collage bits, and I have all the little cutout pieces and little pieces up in this little drawer that I'm reaching across the camera so that I can get these little pieces out. And I'll use some of these in some of my collage bits. So I'm going to pick a focal point first of all. Maybe I'll use that as a focal point. This was part of the paper pad. And I just need some fabric, or paper pieces. This is a old wax bag. It came with a box of stuff at a flea market. I would have normally thrown this sucker out before I started junk journaling. Who would keep that old crumpled up and torn wax paper bag? We would. Oh, that covers up the whole thing. I can always add more on top of it. I like the jagged edge from the top of the bag. This is a piece of corrugated paper. I use my paper crimper on that. Got some music paper. Have that yellow receipt. That's from 70s or 80s. That was in my dad's folder when they moved. That's a piece of scrapbook paper. Looks like I ran my chair over it. We've got some textured bits. That little piece is pretty. Okay, hopefully I have enough here that I can come up with a design that I like. I'll cut a little strip of this and maybe I'll use it. Some music. I want some of the wax bag to show through. Don't want to cover it all up. I have my cigarette card printables cut up here. Let's get these papers on here properly. I'll tear that extra piece off. Okay, we're going to go with that. Got quiet, didn't I? Trying to think of something to say, but I don't want to just talk nonsense. I don't want to just talk for the sake of talking, although isn't that what we're supposed to do? Fill up space. But every time I say something about me getting quiet, you guys all say it's okay. So it's going to be okay if I'm quiet. Just please don't change the channel. Switch to another video. Just craft along with me. Once I get this collage done, I'll have more things to talk about as far as decorating. This is one of the pieces from the paper pad. I like that it wasn't just tags and cards and things like that, but some actual embellishments. And I've got wax paper over the hole. So I'm going to punch that if I can find my paper punch. This is my new one. I still haven't gotten used to it, but I don't see my old one. Not sure I like this one. I like the ease of pulling down the handle, but what I don't like is that I can't see where the thing is going. I can't see the hole. Can't line up the hole with the puncher thing. I don't know how you're supposed to do that. I'm afraid to punch. It's ridiculous that I can't see that. There must be a way to be able to see. It's way down here. And once I get this in there, I can't see the hole to line it up. I've talked about that before. I'm going to hold it up to my face so I can see what I'm doing, maybe. I did it! If you guys have a punch like this, can you tell me how you line it up? And now I'm going to add some sari silk to that. And this tag will be done. There. And now I still have to decorate the bag itself. I have these little tags stamped on pink coffee dyed paper. And I want a little lace to put on the top. Unless I've got these little heart-shaped pieces. On the other bag, I used a piece of one of these embroidered. Can use a piece of that, I guess. I think that's too small. I think I'll put that on. I still want to be able to see part of the image behind the bag. Just putting a little glue on this lace if I'm out of frame. I'm not looking at the camera because I'm looking at my glue. One corner of this heart is bent, so I have to hold it down while I'm gluing. So that's what I'm focusing on. And the glue holds the bent part down. I just love the little touch of those beautiful laces. I don't need to use a whole piece. That was, I think that was a yard piece, because I think I got this part from boho tree. So the boho tree pieces were a yard, and the other pieces that I got from Sheila were 7 or 8 inches. But more of them. Okay, so that page is done. I think we just did 2 of the pages that take the longest. Some of the other ones will go a lot faster, and I have to stop now because I'm at 45 minutes. I will be back. I'm going to do some more on camera in the next video. So come on back for the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.